Okay, so it is Wednesday, May 1st. I had to roll my windows down because it got a little hot. I've been trying to do this video all night last night, and every time that I had a chance to, I got interrupted. So, yeah, yesterday, because yesterday's been crazy. So anyway, we're blurry. There we go. Okay, so I did a video a couple weeks ago called Check Your Boobies. And in that video, I tell you how important it is to see your doctor, if you're female, see your doctor every year, and to get a yearly mammogram, and how important it is to do self-breast exams. Self-breast exams? It doesn't matter. I have a bird in the tree right beside me. It's important to have your yearly checkup. Whether you're a female or a male, it is entirely important to have your yearly checkup. And even if you have a yearly mammogram and you're female, they don't suggest you have your mammogram unless you are 40 years old or older. And I will tell you how important that is, especially if you have got history of breast cancer in your family. If you have a history of breast cancer in your family, it is up to you to make sure that your voice is heard. Make sure that your doctor, your PCP, understands the history and the strong history, as in my case. It wasn't my place to say anything, and I had to wait for permission, and I recently got it. There's a blue jay. Later on I'll talk about blue jays and cardinals, but you are your own voice. No matter what, this is your body. It is not anybody else's. It is not the neighbors. It is not your cousins. It is not your mother's. It is not your child's. It is not your husband's. It's not your best friend's. It is literally your body to explain and voice what you want. With that being said, my brother and my sister-in-law came down last weekend with my nieces, and my mother had a conversation with them. That is a conversation that I had already had with my mom. When my mom, our doctors and our OB is closed on Friday, so they're only open Monday through Thursday, and it's really hard to contact them whenever something's going on Friday or late Thursday night, because you can't call the doctor first thing Friday and say, hey, this is what was going on. My mom found a lump on Thursday. She did not tell me about it. My sister-in-law had a baby on St. Patrick's Day. I'm getting my calendar out so I don't lie to you on dates, because I'm horrible about that. Spring break was in March. Okay, my mom found a lump on March 14th. My sister-in-law had a baby, St. Patrick's Day, on the 17th. I wasn't told about her lump until I got home from visiting my sister-in-law in the hospital. She told me that night when we got back, and that was the beginning of spring break. We got her into the doctor. I don't know if we got in on the 18th or the 19th. She made a phone call to her doctor. She got in to see her doctor. Her doctor prescribed her and called her in a diagnostic mammogram. The difference between a yearly mammogram and a diagnostic mammogram is a yearly mammogram, you are looking for changes from last year. Okay? So they're going to take a baseline mammogram. They're going to take a baseline picture, and they're going to take a picture next year, and they're going to compare the two. Are there any differences? Is there anything new? Is there anything that's changed? A diagnostic mammogram is diagnosing something. So that should have been done then, not waited. The place, I'll go there because I don't want to name names and I don't want to point fingers, but this place was particularly in the wrong. The doctor called in and said, I need a diagnostic mammogram. My mom in the process said, you know, I'm going to go ahead and call my OB, and we're very close with our OB. You have to be. Anyway, my mom's uncle and our OB's uncle was the same person, so we do consider each other family. But she called them, and they got her in to see the OU Breast Care Network in Oklahoma City. We've been there before. My mom and I have been there before. So they had a baseline mammogram from God knows how long. I think like 4 years back. It didn't matter whether or not she had another mammogram to compare this to or not. It was a diagnostic mammogram, something to diagnose her with. She had a lump that she found. They needed to do the mammogram to see what it was. It did light up on the mammogram. Oh my God, everybody freak out right now. Okay. They said that she needed an ultrasound. She did the ultrasound. Mom is about not really know what's going on right now. So she sends them out to get me, and I go back in there with her, and I can't show you the picture because obviously I'm on my phone. They need to do a biopsy, but they don't have the people to do the biopsy because it was a crazy day. I don't even remember. I think a lot of them went home because their kids were out for spring break, but it doesn't matter. She did the mammogram. She did the ultrasound. We had to go back the next day for her biopsy. Now, our doctor and the OB are both closed on Friday. So we did the biopsy on Thursday. We didn't get the results until April 2nd, so I may be off on my dates. Maybe a week that they got her in. We got the results from the doctor April 2nd. It was a Tuesday. The results from her biopsy were in April 1st. So, we could have gotten the results on Monday, but we chose not to. Because we were seeing her on the 2nd anyway. So, we go in and we see the doctor, and she says, I'm going to confirm it. It was a cancer. But we're going to send you to a surgeon, and we're going to find you an oncologist. The first oncologist that we saw, I'm sorry, my teeth. The first oncologist that we saw wasn't great. The first oncologist that we saw, was more of a, this is what you're going to do, you don't have a choice. Well, ladies, this is where you're wrong. And if this video is finding you later and you didn't realize that you had a choice, I hope that you're a voice for somebody else. Because I come from a very long line of bad genes. We always made fun of it because everybody on my dad's side is an asshole. I just plain put it that way, and I can be one too. But my mother has now recently been diagnosed with breast cancer. My grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she had a bilateral mastectomy, which means she had both of her boobs cut off. My great-grandmother had breast cancer and a bilateral mastectomy. My great-great-grandmother had breast cancer, and I do believe her mother had breast cancer. I have family on my grandmother's side of the family that have had breast cancer, ovarian cancer, uterine cancer. And when I started doing the research and I started asking around, there's not a lot of people left on my dad's side of the family, but when I got a hold of the people I needed to, my dad's side of the family had breast cancer. My dad's aunt. And I tested positive for the breast cancer mutation. Breast cancer mutation, gene mutation. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it is the BRCA2 gene. I am BRCA2 positive. So my mom had genetic testing done when we went to go see the breast surgeon. And she's a general surgeon, but she does a lot of breast surgeries, and she is amazing. And until I have her permission, I don't want to throw her up here under the bus. We see her again, and I will definitely shout out to the doctors as soon as I have permission from them. But we went to a specific oncologist to begin with, and they spoke to my mother very poorly. They were spot on. They were exactly true in the treatment. But my mom is 65 years old, and she's healthy for as healthy as she can be. Trying to roll my window up. My mother takes care of my grandmother in the house. She doesn't get out much. So my mother, when I say my mother is as healthy as she can be at 65 years old, I'm not lying. My mother is as healthy as she possibly can be at 65 doing what she does. And there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Chemo. That is a horrible, 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 horrible word. I don't want my mom doing it. My mother doesn't want my mother to do it. My mother knows that she doesn't have time for it. Hell, we don't have time for cancer, but we're going to do what we got to do. 90% of the treatments that involve chemo, when it comes to breast cancer, is women who want to do a lumpectomy versus the mastectomy, which is they go in and they cut the tumor out versus taking the breast. Okay. They want to do chemo to shrink the tumor and go ahead and kill some of the cells that are going around. Well, my mom is a triple negative, so she doesn't qualify for hormone treatment. We knew this. I can't take hormones because we are not sure if hormones feed the type of cancer that I am prevalent to. So that makes sense. Radiation is an option in some forms and fashions, but my mom and I have lupus, so we don't really qualify for radiation. chemo is really our last option, per the doctor. Now, I took my mother on 4/20 to get her recommendation uploaded to the OMMA site. So my mom has officially applied for her medical marijuana card. Oh my God, all the conservatives, woohoo, all the liberals, everybody have a heart attack. My mother is doing CBD oil right now, and as soon as her card comes in, she will be doing RSO oil. Fuck chemo. And I don't care who I offend. That is a chemical going into my mother's body that does not need to be going into my mother's body to kill every cell that is healthy and unhealthy at the same time. Pretty much costing my mom her life. This is I'll go into names later on, maybe not, because I may not even talk about this anymore. The chemical that they use for chemo takes an hour to mix, and if you don't have a port for it to go in, and they go through an IV in your vein in your arm, and it breaks loose or busts the vein or gets on your skin, literally may cost you your arm or your limb or whatever else it might get on. They say it's safe. I'm just saying, have you ever seen what Coca-Cola will do to the corroded crap on your battery? But we drink it. Just saying. My mom does not want to do chemo. And the first oncologist that we saw told my mother that she did not have a choice. She had to do chemo. That's what she was going to do. And because I tested positive for the BRCA2 gene, she had to have a hysterectomy. It is suggested. It's a blue jay. I don't know if I can catch him before he leaves. He's right there. Sorry. My mom doesn't want to do chemo. We're not doing chemo. I will go from one end of the state to the other end of the state trying to find her a doctor who will support her not wanting to do chemo at all. And if I happen to find one, awesome. So the first oncologist that we saw said, you're doing chemo, you're going to have a hysterectomy. You have to. You don't have any option. He just jumped on my Suburban. My mom walked out of there thinking, well, if I'm going to have to do chemo, I want to do it before surgery. And then second guessing whenever she walked out of there, and she was like, I have to do chemo. No, you don't have to. That's your body. You can do whatever you want to. And it took somebody else to tell her that it was her body and her choice for her to realize it really was her choice. This is your body. This is your cancer. This is your treatment. This is what you want. They are just doctors. I don't give a shit what they tell you. It's their medical opinion. It's not the professional opinion. It is not the only opinion that you can have. If that doctor will not encourage you to get a second opinion on anything, do not go back to them. My mother's PCP told her to get as many options as possible. See as many doctors as she wants to. Not only did her OB encourage that, which we knew she would anyway, the first surgeon that she saw, I absolutely love her because I went to go see her for something a couple years ago. Go get a second opinion. Go get 3 or 4. This is your option. This is your body. This is your choice. This is what every single doctor is going to tell you. But in the end, it is what you want. I recorded that conversation with that doctor. And when I played it back for my mom, it was like, it really is my body and my cancer, and I can fight it the way it is. Well, yeah, Mom, I tried to tell you that before, but it's okay. If you are not comfortable with a doctor, leave them. I don't care if it's in the middle of the conversation. I don't care if it's in the middle of the appointment. I don't care. If you are not comfortable with what they are telling you that you have to do, get up and leave. They're not for you. I am here to tell you my mom has breast cancer. Stage 2, triple negative breast cancer. That means her options have went from this to this. She's got a few in there. But it is still her option, and she can do what in the hell she wants to. I'm here to tell you that no matter what you have going on, if you are not comfortable with a doctor, do not let them touch you. If they're not going to treat you like you are their family, leave them. Just because your doctor says we're going to refer you to this person over here, don't worry about that. They can make another recommendation. You don't have to go see whoever they send you to. And if you tell your PCP that you don't like them and you want to find somebody else, find a new doctor. The first place that we literally went to treated my mom like shit. I would not suggest for the life of me anybody going there. I know they're good. It's a big place. This is what they do. But they don't treat people like they should. So guess what? We went down the road and found another oncologist. And just as a backup plan, we have another appointment on the 8th of May with another oncologist. Both suggestions of the surgeon. The one we saw yesterday was a suggestion of the surgeon. The other oncologist that we made an appointment with works with her on Mondays in the same office. So I know for a fact that this surgeon has worked with both of these people, and the surgeon said, I'll give you another recommendation if you need it too. Because she's doing her job. Because these doctors take a ethical standpoint. They promise, they take an oath that they are going to take care of their patient, not the disease. And I'm here to say yet again, if you are not comfortable with that doctor, leave. It's your body. You walk into the doctor and you say, I need an antibiotic, I'm sick. And the doctor says, no, you don't. You just need to go for a walk. Go get a second opinion. Hell, for all you know, you've got the biggest infection ever and you really do need an antibiotic to make it go away. The oncologist that we saw yesterday said, I'm going to explain to you why they say this is an aggressive cancer. And they explained very detailed. Very nice. If you happen to see a specialist that is from another country, these are his words, not mine. In other countries, the patients do exactly what the doctors tell them. If you go in because your thumb hurts and they tell you you're going to cut your foot off. I came in for my thumb, not my foot, but they're going to take your foot off because they said you need your foot taken off. Here in the United States, I go in for a sore thumb because my thumb hurts and they say, we're going to cut your foot off. No, I'll go get another doctor. You're not going to cut my foot off when I came in for my thumb hurting. Does that make sense? Doctor explained to my mother why they suggest chemo and told her more about the type of cancer that she has. It is considered an aggressive cancer because when it comes back, it can come back in the bone, in the lung, in the liver, in the brain. Just one little cell has to break off. That's it. And it's harder to treat because of the type that it is. I knew this because when I was diagnosed BRCA2, I learned all about that. I learned all about that because my chances were about 92% of getting breast cancer by the age of 45. Because my mother was diagnosed at 65, my chances still went up. Guys, there's not a lot between 90 and 100. So when I was diagnosed BRCA2, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. It was a matter of finding the doctor. I found the doctor, and she flat out told me, "You're smoking, I won't do the surgery. Because you won't heal like you're supposed to." Guys, I also had lupus. I still have lupus, but still. I've now quit smoking. I still have lupus. My mother now has breast cancer, and I still have the BRCA gene. So I still have the breast cancer gene. This still can happen. The oncologist told my mom that, yes, he would suggest chemo. And it broke my heart for a second until he turned around and said, "But that is my suggestion. This is not my body. I understand you not wanting chemo, but let's talk about this for a minute, because if I don't talk about it, I'm not doing my job." So he did. He explained why we would suggest it, why we would do it, and he would suggest it prior to surgery. Most doctors are going to suggest chemo before surgery to shrink the tumor. And we asked, why would we do chemo to shrink the tumor when we're going to remove not just the tumor, we're going to remove the whole mass. She's not just removing a golf ball from her breast, she is removing the entire breast. Well, we're going to take out lymph nodes in the underarm to make sure that that cancer has not already spread to the lymph node, which we went into and discussed a little bit more. We still have an oncology appointment on May 8th, and we've got to call the surgeon today and say, "Hey, do we have an opening? When is your opening for surgery? When's your next opening for surgery?" That way we can go ahead and look and see what we have on the table, because we have found an oncologist that is not going to make her do chemo. They understand her regimen. They understand what she's doing, what she is wanting to do, and he backs her on what she wants to do. His professional opinion would be to do this, but as the patient, he'll treat her the same. Informed him that she was waiting on the approval from the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Association to get her card. And as soon as she got her card, she was going to start this type of treatment. So we were starting her on RSO oil as soon as her card gets in the mail. And he's fine with that. The doctors cannot tell you what you have to do. Even if you are in an end stage, they cannot tell you what you have to do. Only you can make up your mind on that. I've been fine. I have had one cry, one major cry. But what's gonna kill me as a caregiver, as a child, I never thought about it when I was younger. And when I lost my dad in 2011, it wasn't that big of a thing, because we knew that if my dad went downhill, he didn't want to be on a machine, and he didn't want his life to be dragged out. My dad went to war, and my dad had problems when he came back, and that was something that we had already talked about. What got me the most was the conversation we had. It was this week. It may have been Monday. It may have been Sunday after my brother left. What's going to get me is when she signs her DNR and she has the paper in front of her. I know my mom's wishes, and I know I would be strong enough to carry those out, but seeing it on paper is completely different. So, that's not my body. It's not my choice. Don't make your decision on what everybody else wants you to do. Please, for the love of God, remember that it is your body. It is your choice. And you do what you want to do. And don't make any child, any parent, any spouse, or especially any fucking doctor tell you what you have to do. Because it is your body and you can do what you want to do with it. My mom could sit there and tell an oncologist to go screw off and not do anything. And I'm thankful that she's not, but still, it's her choice. Encourage mammograms. Encourage them to your daughters. Encourage them to your friends. Encourage them to your spouses. Self-breast exams. Once a month, same day, every month. If you do them on the 1st, do them on the 1st. If you do them on the 5th, do them on the 5th. You do them on the 15th, I don't care. Strongly encouraged to do them once a month. If you're not diligent about your mammograms, look, don't beat yourself up about them. My last one was 4 years ago. So was my mom's. Had my mom just not felt it, I don't know where we would be right now. It's only been a month, but a lot has happened in that month. So get it done. Encourage it. Don't discourage. Find your best friend, females. Remind them. Put it on your calendar. I don't care if they remind you or not. You be the reminder. Hold them accountable. My mom and her best friend used to say that they were bosom buddies because the same day, every month, they would both remind each other. They went and got their mammograms done. Their birthdays are in February. So they would take out, they would go up to the city and they would have their mammograms done, and they would spend the day just shopping, eating, and being together. And I don't know what I would do if I lost either one of them. Do yourself a favor. Don't wait. There are women who haven't had a mammogram in 5 years that find a lump out of nowhere. There are women who have a mammogram and find a lump 2 weeks later that wasn't there, that didn't show up on the mammogram. Guys, I had a mammogram done. My mammogram was fine. Because I was BRCA2, they wanted me to do an MRI. I did an MRI. The MRI didn't even show anything. So my mammogram was clear. My MRI was clear. My MRI with contrast showed one mass. Is the pea size of a pea. We did an ultrasound, and the ultrasound showed 2 more. So I ended up doing a biopsy on 3 masses. They were all negative. Nothing's guaranteed. Technology's come a long way. But are they going to find everything? So you can't leave it up to that machine, this technology, to find everything that's wrong. You're going to have to know your body. You're going to have to be in tune to your body, and you're going to have to know what's going on. Anyway, mammograms, self-breast exams, mark it on your calendar. Put it in your phone monthly. And when it goes off, check them. Yes, my name is Trisha, and my mother has breast cancer. We're going to survive this. Remember that. We're going to make it to the finish line just like anybody else. One way or another. So, I love you. Have a blessed day today. We'll be back tomorrow because, well, cat's out of the bag now and I can talk about it. So, I got permission. Mom, 36.5 minutes. Almost, ooh, wait for it. 37 minutes in. I hope somebody got something out of this. One of two things. Make sure that you get a mammogram done yearly. Your yearly exam. Self-breast exams every month. And don't forget, this is your body. Nobody else's. They can't tell you what to do. I love you guys. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.